All right, everyone, get ready because today we're going deep on some really fascinating developments in AI that are shaping the future right now. We're talking about some big names, Google, Qualcomm, Salesforce, Baidu, and Adobe, all of them pushing the boundaries of what AI can do.
It's incredible to see how fast this field is moving. Like just a few years back, some of this stuff would have been straight up science fiction.
Yeah, totally. So let's
Infinity.
kick things off with Google and something they're calling the Responsible AI Framework. I know framework doesn't sound super exciting,
Right.
but hear me out. This is Google trying to set some ground rules for ethical AI development. They want to make sure that all of this powerful technology benefits everyone, not just, a select few.
It's so important, especially now with all the concerns about AI and its potential impact. This Google framework really focuses on transparency and accountability. It's all about minimizing bias and making sure AI is used for good, not for, let's say, replacing tons of jobs or ending up being misused.
It's kind of like they're saying, hey, we're not just building cool tech here, we're thinking about the consequences too, which is a big deal, right? Like they're setting an example for the whole industry.
Absolutely. Google is being proactive here, taking a leadership role with ethical AI, and that could very well influence other companies to do the same. Just imagine a future where ethics is baked into every AI system from the ground up.
Okay, let's switch gears for a second. Let's talk about something that's going to put the power of AI right in your pocket. Qualcomm's new AI Edge platform.
Think about it. This platform basically lets your smartphone handle complex AI stuff right there on the device. You don't even need the cloud.
Exactly. So your phone can suddenly do some pretty amazing AI processing locally, making it faster, more efficient, and even more private.
Imagine real-time translation without needing the internet. You could travel anywhere and have conversations easily. Or picture editing photos on the fly with AI tools all happening right there on your phone.
No more waiting for things to upload or download. It's like having a mini supercomputer in your hand. The possibilities are kind of endless.
Yeah, think about things like personalized health monitoring, smarter personal assistants, AR experiences that are way more immersive, all without sacrificing your privacy.
It's crazy, right? This tech could totally change how we interact with the world. Like we're stepping into the future one smartphone at a time.
Now let's talk about how AI is changing the way businesses connect with their customers. Salesforce just launched something called Einstein 11, and it's all about creating personalized experiences.
And this isn't just about like getting a coupon for something you kind of glanced at online.
Mhm.
Einstein 11 takes it way further. It actually predicts customer behavior and what they might need.
Exactly. Think about customer service that feels intuitive, effortless, marketing messages that seem like they were made just for you. They're offering solutions before you even know you need them.
It's almost like a personal assistant for every part of your life, always one step ahead.
Businesses are always looking for ways to create those hyper-personalized experiences and do it on a large scale. Einstein 11 could be the answer. Makes every interaction feel unique and valuable.
It's incredible, but it also makes you think about data privacy, right? If AI is getting this good at predicting our behavior, how do we make sure all our information is being used responsibly?
Yeah, that's the big question. It's a balancing act for sure. How do we balance all this personalization with keeping our data safe? Something to think about.
Definitely. But on a different note, let's talk about something that's always captured people's imaginations. Self-driving cars.
The future on wheels. And Baidu is making some serious progress with their Apollo Moon AI for autonomous vehicles.
It feels like self-driving cars have been just around the corner forever. But Baidu is doing something different. They're really focused on safety and AI that can make smart decisions in tough urban environments.
Exactly. You've got busy city streets, pedestrians, cyclists, unpredictable traffic patterns. It's a huge challenge to get self-driving right in those conditions.
Yeah, it's like playing a video game on expert mode, but with real-life stakes. Baidu's tackling it head-on, though, building AI that can think on its feet and handle even the trickiest situations.
And think about how this could change everything. Less traffic, stress-free commutes, cities designed for both people and self-driving cars.
Yeah, I can picture myself catching up on emails or reading during my commute instead of worrying about traffic.
It could also be a game changer for things like logistics, delivery services, packages arriving in just hours delivered by efficient self-driving vehicles.
Yeah, that's a future I can get behind. But we've been talking about self-driving cars and super smart AI. Let's not forget about good old-fashioned human creativity.
Yeah.
And that's where Adobe's Sensei GenAI comes in.
It's not just AI assisting artists now, it's AI co-creating with them.
It's like having an AI partner to brainstorm with. You bounce ideas back and forth, and those ideas come to life in ways you never even thought of.
Yeah, it's like having an AI muse whispering inspiration in your ear. And the best part is that this tech could make creativity accessible to everyone.
I love that AI is a tool for empowerment. You wouldn't need years of training or expensive equipment to make incredible art or designs. You'd have an AI partner to help you along the way.
Exactly. It could open up so many possibilities for artists, entrepreneurs, educators, anyone with a creative spark. Imagine a world where anyone can express themselves through art, music, design, no matter their background or skills.
It's a beautiful thought,
Yeah.
and it connects to something we've been talking about throughout this whole deep dive. AI's potential to empower people, whether it's giving you more control of your data with on-device AI, personalizing your experiences with predictive tech, or giving you creative superpowers. It feels like AI is becoming more and more about enhancing what humans can do.
It is a fascinating shift. We hear a lot about the dangers of AI, but these advancements show us how it can augment us, empower us, help us reach new heights.
Exactly. And speaking of reaching new heights, let's go back to Baidu's Apollo Moon for a second and the future of self-driving cars. I'm especially interested in the idea of cities designed with these vehicles in mind.
It's pretty mind-blowing, right? Imagine cities with less traffic, more green spaces, and it's safer for pedestrians too. Self-driving cars could completely change how we design and experience cities.
It's like we get to hit the reset button on city planning. We could prioritize walkability, build more efficient transportation, and maybe even use those huge parking lots for something more useful.
Yeah, totally. It's a chance to rethink how we use transportation and build cities that are more livable, sustainable, and just more enjoyable for everyone.
I love that vision.
Yeah.
But obviously, like with any new tech, there are some things to consider. We talked about data privacy with personalized AI. Those same concerns apply to self-driving cars, maybe even more so.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Self-driving systems collect a ton of data. It raises big questions about how that data is stored, used, and protected. It's something we need to figure out as we move toward this driverless future.
For sure. But let's not get too caught up in the potential downsides. What about the potential benefits of self-driving cars? One thing I'm excited about is the impact on accessibility.
That's a really important point. Think about people with disabilities who can't drive now. They could have the freedom to travel independently, or older folks who maybe don't feel comfortable driving anymore.
It could be life-changing for so many people, giving them back their independence, their mobility.
And let's not forget about safety on the roads. Most accidents happen because of human error. Self-driving systems could drastically reduce the number of accidents.
So safer roads, less traffic, more accessible transportation. It sounds like a win-win.
It has the potential to be, that's for sure. And as this technology keeps getting better, those benefits are only going to become more and more obvious.
It seems like we're right on the edge of some amazing changes, both in how we live our lives and how we use technology.
Absolutely. There are going to be challenges along the way, but it's an exciting time to be alive. We're witnessing all of this unfold right in front of us.
It feels like a new era of possibilities. But before we go too far into the future, I'm curious about your take on Google's responsible AI framework. We talked about it earlier, but I'd love to get your perspective on how impactful it could be.
Well, I think it's a really positive sign to see a company like Google being proactive about the ethics of AI. It feels like they're acknowledging the potential risks, but also embracing the possibilities.
It's encouraging, right, to see them taking those ethical implications seriously.
Yeah, I think it's super important for industry leaders to set the tone when it comes to responsible AI. And Google's framework is all about transparency, accountability, fairness. It's about minimizing bias and making sure AI is a force for good. These are principles that should be fundamental for every single AI system out there.
Yeah, it's awesome that they're not just ignoring those issues.
Exactly. And the focus on transparency, accountability, and fairness. It's all about minimizing bias, making sure AI is used to help people. These are the things that should be at the core of any AI system, really.
I agree. We got to make sure AI benefits everyone, not just, a select few. It's about creating a future where AI is a force for good,
Yeah.
helping us solve problems, making the world a little more fair for everyone.
Absolutely. Think about how AI could help us fight climate change, improve healthcare, make education better for everyone. These are just a few examples of what AI could do when it's developed and used responsibly.
It's exciting to think about. all those possibilities. But even with those frameworks and guidelines, it still comes down to the people building and using AI, right?
Mm.
They're the ones who need to make sure it's used ethically.
Yeah, that's where education and awareness are so important. We need to create a culture of responsible AI development, encourage people to talk about it openly, to really think about the impact this technology could have.
Absolutely. It's a conversation we all need to be part of.
It's not just about the tech itself, it's about the values we build into it, the choices we make about how we use it. We're the ones shaping the future of AI.
Well said. And like we've been talking about throughout this whole deep dive, the future of AI looks pretty amazing. AI-powered smartphones, self-driving cars, tools that help us be more creative. We're on the verge of some big changes.
It's a future full of possibilities, that's for sure. A future where AI helps people, makes us more capable, and helps us build a world that's fairer and more sustainable.
Totally agree. And to bring it back to something we talked about earlier, let's circle back to Baidu's Apollo Moon and self-driving cars for a second. I'm really fascinated by the idea of cities that are designed with autonomous vehicles in mind.
It's a wild concept, right? Imagine cities with way less traffic, more green spaces, and pedestrians are safer too. Self-driving cars could completely change how we design and experience cities.
It's like we get a do-over with city planning.
Mm.
We could prioritize walkability, create more efficient transportation systems, and maybe we could even take those giant parking lots and turn them into something useful.
Exactly. We could rethink how we get around and build cities that are better to live in, more sustainable, just more enjoyable for everybody.
I love that idea. But of course, with any new tech, there are always some challenges. Earlier, we talked about data privacy with personalized AI. Those same concerns are there with self-driving cars, maybe even more so.
Oh, for sure. Self-driving systems collect a ton of data, so there are definitely big questions about how all that data is handled, how it's stored, used, kept safe. Those are things we've got to figure out as we head towards this driverless future.
Absolutely. But let's focus on the positive for a minute. What about all the good things self-driving cars could bring? One thing that really excites me is how it could improve accessibility.
That's such a crucial point. Think about people with disabilities who can't drive right now. This could give them the freedom to get around on their own. Or older folks who might not feel as safe driving anymore.
It could change so many lives, give people back their independence and the ability to get around easily.
And then there's the safety aspect. Human error is a huge factor in most accidents. Self-driving systems could dramatically reduce the number of accidents on the roads.
Safer roads, less traffic, transportation that's accessible to more people. It sounds pretty amazing.
It does have the potential to be a win-win situation, and as the tech keeps improving, those benefits will become even clearer.
So it seems like we're on the brink of some pretty incredible changes, both in terms of how we live our daily lives and how we use technology.
Absolutely. We'll definitely face some challenges along the way, but it's exciting to be alive at a time like this. We get to see all of this happening right in front of our eyes.
It feels like a brand new era, full of possibility.
It really does.
Yeah, it feels like we're at this really pivotal moment.
It does. And it's great to see those conversations about responsible AI happening. It can't just be about the tech, right? It's got to be about the impact, too.
Exactly. So we've talked about Google's responsible AI framework, but I'm curious, like from your perspective, how much of a difference do you think something like that can actually make?
Well, it's definitely a good step, having those guidelines in place. But I think the real change has to come from within the industry itself, from the people actually building and using these systems.
Yeah, like a shift in mindset almost.
Right. We need to prioritize ethical considerations from the very beginning, like bake it into the design process, not just think about it as an afterthought.
I agree. It can't be just a checkbox,
Yeah,
right? It needs to be a core part of how we approach AI development.
exactly. And the more we talk about it, the more we raise awareness, the better chance we have of actually making a difference.
So what do you think are some of the biggest challenges we face in making sure AI is used ethically?
Oh man, that's a big question. I think one of the biggest challenges is bias. AI systems are trained on data, and if that data is biased, the AI is going to be biased too, and that can have some serious real-world consequences.
That's a really good point. Like, how do we even begin to identify and mitigate those biases, especially when they can be so subtle?
Yeah, it's tough. But there are some things we can do, like making sure the data sets we're using are diverse and representative, and involving people from different backgrounds in the development process.
So kind of a collaborative approach, getting different perspectives involved.
Exactly. And constantly testing and evaluating these systems to make sure they're not perpetuating existing biases. It's an ongoing process for sure.
So we need to be vigilant. essentially.
Absolutely. And I think transparency is key too. People need to understand how these systems work, how decisions are being made.
Right. Like, how do we build trust in AI if we don't understand how it works?
Exactly. And that's why I think Google's emphasis on transparency is so important. It's a step in the right direction.
It's a good sign, for sure. And I think as AI becomes more and more integrated into our lives, these conversations about ethics are going to become even more important.
Oh, absolutely. The stakes are just going to get higher. But I'm actually optimistic, I think the more we talk about these issues, the better equipped we'll be to handle them.
Yeah, I agree. Awareness is key. And the good news is, it feels like there's a growing awareness of these challenges,
Definitely. And it's not just academics and researchers talking about it anymore. It's becoming a mainstream conversation.
which is so important. We need everyone at the table thinking about these issues.
Exactly. The future of AI is going to be shaped by all of us.
Well said. So as we wrap up this deep dive, any final thoughts for our listeners?
Final thoughts. I guess I would just say stay curious, keep asking questions, don't be afraid to challenge the status quo.
I love that. Stay curious. And don't be afraid to imagine what a better future with AI could look like.
Exactly. And share those ideas. Let's build that future together.
Awesome. Well, on that note, I think it's time to wrap things up. Thanks so much for joining us for this deep dive into the world of AI. It's been an amazing conversation.
My pleasure. Always fun to talk about this stuff.
And for our listeners, if you want to keep the conversation going, join us on social media using the hashtag AI Frontiers. We'd love to hear your thoughts.
Yeah, come join the conversation.
Until next time, stay curious and keep exploring.